Do you guys see this? I can't. What? We got this in the mail today. I screamed. I want to cry. I'm holding this in my hands now and I'm realizing that it's real. Like it happened. She's looking real scrumptious. Right there. She looking cute or whatever. This is your sign. Start that YouTube channel. What are you waiting for? Do it now. So you're probably here because you've been wanting to start that YouTube channel, and I'm here to give you some of my solid tips, advice, brutal honesty, and a few things that I wish someone would have told me when I first started my channel. You've come to the right place. I will also have timestamps throughout this whole video so that you guys can skip around and you don't have to listen to everything if you don't want to. Look, I've had some pretty solid growth on YouTube in the past year. I will say, I've made a good amount of mistakes that if I didn't make, I would have probably been in a different place right now. And watching this video hopefully will prevent you from making those same mistakes. One of my biggest mistakes on YouTube, starting off at least, was caring too much about what people thought of me. And if that's the case for you, listen up. We do not care about people's opinions in this household. They just don't matter. They're irrelevant. Literally, they're unimportant. They're unnecessary. We don't need them. What good do people's opinions do for you? I am saying this because this is something that I dealt with. It took me a few months to convince myself to start a channel, and since I'm sure that this is something that everyone goes through, I want to tell you one thing. If you're serious about starting a channel and this is something that you really want to do, if you're passionate about it and you just deeply have a desire to have a YouTube channel, you just have to accept that no matter how far you get into your channel, judgment from people is never gonna go away. This is something that I had to tell myself over and over. I had to literally just accept it. And I'm assuming your goal is to one day have hundreds, maybe even thousands of people watching you. I want you to ask yourself this. How can that possibly be your goal when you're afraid of a couple of hundred people's opinion? You're gonna eventually have to learn how to deal with it, and the first step into making a YouTube channel is getting over the fear of what people think of you. It's really just all in your head. You'll never really know what people are actually thinking of you, and honestly, my advice to you guys is to just do it. You lose nothing trying. Stop overthinking. The last thing you want is to be 30 wondering where you would have been if you would have just started the YouTube channel. You never really know where it could take you. So before anything, I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey, how I got to where I am today, and all of that fun stuff. So I recently did hit 100k subscribers. If that wasn't obvious enough already, YouTube is something that I've always wanted to do as long as I could remember. I did have a lot of phases where I kind of came onto YouTube and I would make some YouTube videos, and then I would leave for a few months, and then I would come back, and then there was a point where I stopped making videos altogether for like 2 years. I honestly wouldn't even count that as a part of my journey. I wouldn't really say that I started my YouTube channel until last year in February of 2020, because that is when I decided that I wanted to start taking YouTube seriously and I wanted to actually start being consistent. And that was also the year that I started college. This is also your reminder that if you've been thinking that it's too late to start a YouTube channel, you think that you're running out of time, it's never too late. And start a YouTube channel. Literally, I don't even think that there is such thing as 90-year-old YouTubers, but if there was, I would. So now I want to talk a little bit about getting discovered on YouTube, what to do and what not to do. So I love watching these kinds of videos, and I always hear people talking about how good thumbnails and consistency is the key to blowing up. And yes, those are two very important things, but they are not everything. There's so much more that goes into getting on the algorithm's good side than you think. So the first few months that I was doing YouTube, I thought that consistency was everything. I could have swore that as long as I was consistent that I was gonna blow up on YouTube, and that was definitely not the case. I do wish that more YouTubers would talk about this because that's all that they ever tell you. They always say, just be consistent and you'll blow up. I hate that people didn't really go into more detail about the other things and other aspects that go into growing on YouTube, like the thumbnails, content value, editing, video quality, niching, all of that. So the first few months that I was on YouTube, these are the kinds of videos that I was posting. And this is where I went wrong, because these kinds of videos are, first of all, not being searched up. They don't really hold any kind of value. And overall, I could have done better. So if there's one thing I really want you to take away from this video, it is to follow trends. Look at what's trending, look at what people are searching up, and post those videos. So I literally started my channel basically when the pandemic kind of hit, and at the time I realized that a lot of people were going to be searching up videos related to being bored. And so one of the videos that I posted at that time was what to do when you're bored. Literally, it was such a smart decision because a lot of the people at the time were actually searching up what to do when you're bored. So this video that I made actually ended up being one of my more viral videos, and it actually brought a lot of exposure to my channel. Looking back at that video, it was pretty pretty bad. Like, my quality wasn't the greatest. I was still not fully comfortable in front of the camera, and I just wish that I could have made this video differently, but I gained 10,000 subscribers from just that one video. So just keep that in mind. Pay close attention to trends and hop on them as soon as you can, because it could do your channel wonders. So this is going to sound a bit harsh, and I don't want anyone to get offended by this, but if you're planning on starting your YouTube and you were thinking about doing like a Q&A, don't do it. No one cares about your vlogs. No one cares about your Q&A. Look, when you're starting off, no one really knows you. No one really cares to watch your videos, especially at the beginning. So you should definitely stay away from those videos when you're first starting off your channel. I'm not saying Q&As are terrible. Definitely make a Q&A once you start growing on YouTube and people actually care about you as a person. And this isn't me saying to not make your own original type of content. Of course, try to make every video your own and try to implement your own personality into each video that you make. In time, you'll eventually develop your own video style, your own editing techniques. Don't worry too much about that at the start, but keep that in mind. So next, I wanted to talk a little bit about niching. This is something that I kind of struggled with at the beginning. I tried really hard to make so many different kinds of content to the point where I didn't even know what my niche was. Like, I would post a fitness video one week, and then the next week I would post a fashion video. Then the next I would post like a gaming video. It went to a point where people would go on my channel and you couldn't really tell the kind of content that I was making because it was just all over the place. So yeah, definitely don't do that. Try to narrow down your niches to 2 to 3, so that way you have a good variety of content to offer, and don't overdo it, but also don't just stick to one, because a lot of the time I feel like having just one niche could be scary. If you're just making one kind of video, then people are only watching you for that one type of video, and if you ever try to branch out and like try to make new kinds of content, people may not be interested in other things besides just that one thing that you were already posting about. I don't know if that makes sense, but I've always thought that was really scary, especially for people that make like college content. They're eventually going to graduate from college, and what's going to happen then? Like, people are not going to watch your other videos. You can't really make college content anymore. So next we have consistency, and this is something that every YouTuber talks about, but I wanted to go a little bit more into depth about it. First of all, consistency doesn't mean that if you post a boring vlog every week, you're gonna blow up, because that's what I thought. I thought that as long as I posted whatever content every week, I would get somewhere. To me, consistency means a lot of things. First of all, the more you upload a week, the more chances you're getting to bring exposure to your channel. So say you're already posting once a week. There's like what? How many weeks in a year?
Hey Siri.
How many weeks is there in a year?
1 year is 52.18 weeks.
So there's 52 weeks in a year. So that means you're posting 52 videos a year. Those are 52 chances to blow up. So if you're posting twice every week, that's like double the amounts of time to blow up. So if you keep up with that, just imagine how much chances you get to blow up. That's a lot of chances. But at the same time, the more that you upload, you're also getting better at what you're doing in every video. Like, you're literally just improving. To me, I spent a lot of time editing, and for the past year, I've felt myself getting better and better at editing, and I've just honestly come a long way, and I'm just really glad that I kept up what I've been doing, because I wouldn't be where I am now if I didn't continue to be consistent from the start. I feel like that was pretty deep. But also remember, quality over quantity. Don't think that because you're posting 5 times a week that's gonna get you somewhere. It could. I'm not saying it won't, but try to keep in mind that you should be proud of each video, and it's completely okay if you're only able to post like once a week, because a lot of the time that works a lot better for people. Posting 2 to 3 times can sometimes really affect someone's mental health. So again, if once a week works for you, that is perfectly fine. Don't feel pressured to do more than you can. Next, remember that growth comes in waves. Your channel isn't always gonna be doing amazing. It's not always gonna be skyrocketing. There is gonna be times where reviews just plateau. You have to be willing to get past that, and that's a part of committing to YouTube. If you're really just doing it for the money, then things like that can really just bring you down because you're simply not enjoying what you're doing. So if you're doing videos because you love them, then getting past those things will be a lot easier for you. But do keep that in mind. I feel like a lot of people have these like unrealistic expectations that as soon as they start YouTube, they're gonna blow up and their views are gonna be crazy, but that is just not what's gonna happen. Don't be discouraged whenever you do see that your channel isn't doing the best. It just happens. The people that are able to continue making videos even through the rough times are the ones that really just make it out and end up doing really well on YouTube. So now that I've talked a little bit about getting discovered on YouTube, I want to talk about how to grow on YouTube. We've touched on how to get people to actually find your videos and how to get people to be interested in your videos. We have to talk about how to get people to want to stick around and actually build an audience. So one of the first most important things, which I haven't really talked about because this is something that literally you probably have heard about millions of times, and that is your thumbnails. So I don't want to go too into depth about thumbnails because you probably already heard it all. We get it. Thumbnails are the most important thing. Literally, if your thumbnail's not good, then it doesn't even matter how much work you put into your video because no one's even gonna watch it. And you want to put as much effort into your thumbnails as you do into your video. So once you get someone to click on your video, you want your content to actually hold some kind of value in order to hold your audience's interest long enough to get them to not click out right away. There's a lot of things you could do to achieve this. First of all, don't clickbait. Don't promise an audience something that isn't actually going to be in your video, because then they'll most likely click away. 2, keep your intros short. This was something that I learned the very hard way. I used to think that intros were super important. No one cares to hear you talk for 30 minutes about what the video is going to be about. That's what the title is for. I've always made intros, but recently I've actually been trying to stop making intros altogether and instead make montages at the beginning of what the video is going to be about, do voiceovers, just make it more interesting. And lastly, remember that we're living in an age where people's attention spans are very short. They're basically non-existent. So try to pace your videos well. Try not to stick on one subject for too long. Constantly switch it out. This is something that I'm still kind of practicing myself. It is a bit hard sometimes. And so when you're editing your videos, try to keep that in mind. Try to think of your video as a TikTok. Try to make it so that you're basically not boring your audience. I personally never did this, but I do see a lot of people doing this, and it bothers me because this is not a good way to grow on YouTube. It's like the worst way, actually. And that is commenting on other people's videos, basically asking others to subscribe to you. Like, if you have to ask someone to subscribe to your YouTube channel, that is you saying that your content isn't good enough for people just to want to watch it because they want to. Does that make sense? Please avoid that. That is the worst possible way to grow, not only because you won't have an authentic audience, but people will literally just not be watching your videos. Your watch time will literally just be terrible. If anything, people will click on your videos. They won't be watching all the way through, simply because they were never interested in your videos to begin with. A key way of growing on YouTube is having a high watch time, so definitely avoid that. And I do believe that in order to get monetized on YouTube, you have to have like a watch time of 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. So do keep that in mind. Remember that your goal is to gain an audience organically that actually watches your videos and engages with your videos. If anything, a better alternative would be to instead comment authentic comments on other people's videos, meaning like go onto your favorite creators' videos and comment like a funny comment that people will actually like. So now we're gonna talk equipment. I do want to talk a little bit about what I use and things that I would personally recommend. So if you're barely starting your channel and you're thinking about going and buying like a $500 camera, I wouldn't necessarily say that that would be your best decision. I feel like since you're only starting off, you should try just using your phone. The quality of iPhone cameras is literally not bad. I actually started my channel using my phone. If you go back to my videos from a year ago, you could easily tell that I'm using my phone to record. I do deeply regret that because my quality for my phone specifically was just so bad. It literally looked like I was filming on a potato. I really wish I would have just invested in a camera, but if that isn't something that you're able to do, then don't feel discouraged. You'll eventually get to a point where you'll feel more comfortable purchasing a camera. But yeah, I want to say that I used my phone to record for a solid like 3 months when I had first started making videos. It wasn't until I started seeing growth on my channel that I decided to invest in a camera. Right now I am using the Canon Rebel SL2, and this is an amazing camera for videos. I have heard really good things about the Canon M50. I see a lot of YouTubers use that camera, so that's something you can look into as well. I refuse to get the Canon G7X because it just seems like the worst possible camera for videos. It just seems like a vlogging camera to me, really, and I just don't think it's the best quality. And I've also heard a lot about how that camera easily breaks, so if you could stay away from that camera, try to, but that's just my personal opinion. Do definitely do your own research. A lot of different cameras could work a lot better for you. For me personally, I needed a camera that had good autofocus because I hate having to deal with like the camera going out of focus suddenly and I have to refilm things. I hate that so much. And as for my editor, I do use Final Cut Pro, and I love Final Cut so much. It literally works perfectly for me. I refuse to use any other editor. I will say that I didn't start using Final Cut right away. I used to use like random editors before when I didn't have a MacBook, but that was like years ago, and that's kind of like back when I started getting into editing. Probably shouldn't be saying this because it is probably illegal, but there's so many ways online that show you how to get Final Cut Pro for free. You can also just literally, the possibilities are endless. I literally never paid for Final Cut Pro because it's so expensive for no reason. But yeah, I do highly recommend trying to learn on Final Cut Pro because it's such a good editor. It's so much better than iMovie. But if you're brand new to editing, you probably should start on a simpler editor like iMovie because it's just a lot easier to edit on there and a lot easier to like maneuver compared to Final Cut where it's a lot more advanced and I feel like you wouldn't even know what you're doing. I'll probably make a video soon where I show you guys how I edit my videos. I know a lot of you wanted to see that from me. I've just been too lazy and it just requires so much effort to make a video like that. I promise I'll get to it soon. Hopefully. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. As for the other equipment that I use, I do actually have a microphone right now on my camera that helps enhance the audio quality, and I do also use this microphone for my voiceovers, but I did always used to just record my voiceovers on my phone and my voice memos. That is also just as good, but having a microphone has made the editing process so much easier. And one of the last things I have to make my editing process easier is a hard drive, and I do highly recommend getting one once you feel ready to, or once you're far enough in your channel that you feel that you need one. It is super helpful to have a hard drive just to have like that extra space, because once you become like a full-time YouTuber, you're gonna end up having so many files that you need to organize, and your computer ends up running out of space every like 5 minutes, at least for me, and it just becomes really annoying. So having a hard drive can definitely be super helpful. And I do have this like Seagate one. I hate it. I do not recommend it. And one day it just stopped working and I lost all the files on it. It was the worst experience ever. I don't know why I didn't take this as a sign. Should have just bought another brand. Also, I forgot to mention, this is the lighting that I use. I recently did invest in lighting because the lighting in my room sucks, and I will link it down below. So yeah. So now I wanted to talk a little bit more about the business side of YouTube. So maybe once you get to that point, you could probably keep these things in mind. So first of all, sponsorships. I probably started getting sponsor emails once I hit around like 10,000 subscribers. Once you start seeing growth, you're gonna notice that a lot of sponsors are gonna start reaching out to you, and that doesn't mean you have to work with every single one. So definitely do your research on brands. I really try hard to do this. I've gotten a lot of questions about making money on YouTube, and this is something that I feel like a lot of people don't talk about, and I could see why, but I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it. And so first of all, in order to start getting paid on YouTube, you actually have to have like 1,000 subscribers and like 4,000 watch hours. This is what you need to have in order to get monetized on YouTube. I don't remember how long it took me to get monetized. I want to say that it didn't take me that long, just because at the beginning of my channel, again, I posted a good amount of videos that blew up, so it was kind of like a fast process for me. It does take a while for most people to get monetized on YouTube, but yeah, so once you do get monetized on YouTube, the amount of money that people make on YouTube is different. I can't just sit here and tell you that you're gonna make a specific amount, because it literally is different for everyone. Someone that's making videos on like Teslas and like stocks is making so much more money than someone like me that just makes videos on fashion. Also, YouTube does pay monthly, usually get paid at the end of the month. I have heard that most people that start on YouTube the first few months, they'll probably make like a couple hundred per month. Once you start seeing more growth and your channel hits maybe like 50K, you can start making up to like 1,000, and then it just kind of goes up from there. You get paid per view, per an ad for a video. You can put ads before and after your video, or if it's like 8 minutes, you can put it in between, like right now. Gotcha there. But yeah, it used to be like 10 minutes, but they recently changed it to 8. So as long as your video is 8 minutes, you can put ads in between like I just did right now. Oh, I did it again. Okay, anyways, usually payments are made through Google AdSense. So if you do reach the threshold of like $100 every month, you'll get paid every month. Otherwise, the money will just sit in like your account until it reaches $100. But yeah, I think that was pretty much it. I had everything written down in this like notebook, literally like everything I wanted to talk about, and that was basically everything I had written down. I do feel like once I start to edit this, I'm gonna realize I forgot to say something, but you know what? It's okay. If you have any questions or anything that I might have missed, you could just leave it in the comments. I will make sure to read every single one of your comments, so I'll answer any of the questions you guys have. And yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm super grateful for the amount of support that you guys have been giving me recently. Literally, it's been like 2 weeks since we hit 100K, and we're almost at 150K. What? You guys don't even know how grateful I am and how much this has already been changing my life. Sometimes I will go to my YouTube channel and I will literally cry just looking at it because of how far we've come. It's just insane to me. But yeah, this is now our plaque. I'm so proud of her, and I will hold on to her. This is like our symbol of like, I don't even know what I'm saying. I have been talking for so long now. Again, if you're watching this and you have been trying to look for a sign to start your YouTube channel, just do it now. Literally DM me if you have anything that is like stopping you, if there's something that is conflicting you and you need help with. Literally DM me and I'll answer you and I will help you out. My DMs are open and I check them pretty regularly. I probably will lag on answering DMs, but I'll get to them eventually. If you need more motivation, if you need me to scream at you to start your YouTube channel, just DM me and I'll do it. I promise. I'm very good at that, by the way. But yeah, that is it. Love you guys very much. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on your post notifications so you don't miss an upload. Bye!